Peachies! Welcome back to Dear Peachy. Have you been wanting to recreate that airy, glowy makeup look you see on K-pop girl groups? Think flawless, radiant skin, delicate pink tones, and a hint of elegance. Today, we are bringing you a HeeJin-inspired makeup look with a ballerina twist. Whether you're a fan of K-pop or just love a dreamy, feminine vibe, this look is going to be right up your alley. In this tutorial, we're excited to have Mian, a famous makeup guru on XiaoHongShu, show you how to achieve this look. Her styles are inspired by Korean trends, focusing on soft, demure, and feminine vibes. With over 63,000 followers, Mian has become a go-to for those who love these elegant looks. If you're into styles like hers, make sure to visit her profile. Without further ado, let's get started. Mian begins her routine by prepping her skin with a hydrating mist. Since she has combination skin, she's been loving the Hourglass Ambient Soft Glow Foundation, which she's been using for months. She applies it in sections, blending it out with a cushion puff for an even, natural finish. To achieve a clean and flawless base, she follows up with concealer to cover any acne marks and brighten areas like under her eyes and the corners of her mouth. Again, she uses a cushion puff to seamlessly blend everything. With her already flawless skin, these steps take her complexion to the next level. If you pay close attention to K-pop girl group makeup, you'll notice they really focus on brightening the mid-face to give a plump, youthful look. To recreate this, we're using a light beige matte highlighter to brighten the inner cheeks, around the nose, forehead, and chin. Next, Mian reaches for her all-time favorite, Fenty Beauty's contour stick, to define her cheekbones, jawline, and above the temples. Remember to always pat or blend out your contour for a natural finish. For her nose contour, she uses the same stick, tracing a V shape at the tip, around the nose root, and a straight line across the bridge for that subtle definition. Since this look focuses on an airy, natural finish, Mian uses a loose powder brush to lightly set her face with a thin layer of powder. Now that the base is done, Mian moves on to the eyes. She starts with a light beige shade, applying it evenly over her eyelids as a base. This helps the eyeshadow pop and appear more vibrant later. To recreate the soft, pinkish look, she's using the Juicy 12-shade eyeshadow palette in 02 Pink Melon. She applies a mauve pink shade along the upper lid and blends it out evenly. Next, she uses a rosy peach shade to blend across the lower lid. For more definition, she adds a peachy pink shade to the inner corners of the upper lid. For the brows, Mian starts by combing them through with a spoolie. Then, she picks up some brown brow powder with a brow brush to fill in a straight brow shape. To add definition, she uses a brow pencil to lightly trace a few strokes that mimic natural brow hairs. Finally, she switches to a fluffy, flat smudge brush, picks up the same brow powder, and softly blends out the brow head for a natural gradient effect. If you have thick or dark brow hairs, you can lighten them with a brown brow gel. Lighter brows are key to achieving that K-pop girl group look. To make her eyes pop, Mian adds a touch of glitter, just like HeeJin's look. Using a detail brush, she applies a glittery shade along the groove of her inner corner. You can also add a bit of glitter to your under eye area, or XiaoHongShu, for that extra sparkle. HeeJin doesn't have a very prominent XiaoHongShu, so Mian keeps it subtle. She lightly traces a faint line with an XiaoHongShu liner to contour the under eye area. Then, using a flat brush, she picks up a contour shade and blends it over the liner for a more natural look. Using the same brush, Mian takes the darkest brown shade and lines it along the outer half of her lower lash line. This helps to open up the eye area. To illuminate her mid-face, she applies a matte highlighter to her inner cheeks, giving them a plump, lifted look. You can definitely see the difference. She also applies some to her forehead for added brightness. Then, she picks up a glittery champagne shade to lightly line her inner corner, extending it slightly down toward the bridge of her nose for extra dimension. Next, she curls her lashes before applying mascara and falsies. Since Mian doesn't show how she applies her falsies in this video, feel free to check out our previous video for a step-by-step tutorial. For eyeliner, if you're confident filling it in one go, feel free to go ahead and do that. But if you're a newbie or your hands get shaky, here's a trick. Use a flat brush to pick up the darkest shade from the palette and lightly fill in your liner first. It's like drawing a draft before you go in with your eyeliner pen. Don't forget to apply mascara to your lower lashes too. For a more dolly look, you can even draw a few strokes of fake lashes. To further define her nose, Mian goes over the contour she applied earlier with a bit of contour powder, enhancing the structure for a more sculpted look. Mian uses the 3CE blush in Delectable, applying it in a rounded shape on the outer cheeks, blending it out for a natural, flushed look. She also dabs a bit on her lips for a cohesive finish. To make her lips look poutier, she contours her philtrum under the lower lip and the corners of her mouth to create the illusion of wider lips. For her lips, she uses the Into You Lip and Cheek Mud in shades EM12 and Pop 605. To add a glossy finish, she applies a clear gloss to the center of her lower lip and Cupid's bow. To intensify the blush, Mian adds another layer of rosy peach to the middle of her cheeks, overlapping the blush she applied earlier. For a final touch, she adds a beauty mark at the outer corner of her eye and the center of her cheek. To recreate the dewy finish of the look, she uses the Glint highlighter stick in 02 Milky Moon. Instead of applying it directly, she dabs some product onto a cushion puff and lightly applies it to her inner cheeks and above her brows, ensuring a subtle glow without looking greasy. Finally, she adds a touch of shimmery highlighter to her nose tip for extra dimension. Now that the makeup look is complete, Mian will show you how to recreate this cute hairstyle. You'll need some small claw clips, elastic bands, and hairpins. First, part your hair into a 7:3 ratio. Then divide your hair evenly into 2 sections. We're going to create 2 ponytails. Once your hair is sectioned, tie each side with an elastic band, making sure the ponytails sit diagonally above your ears like this. Don't forget to pull out your bangs so they don't get caught in the ponytail. Next, braid each ponytail, making sure not to braid too loose or too tight, just tight enough to hold the braid together. To add some volume at the top of your head, use the pointed end of a comb and gently lift sections of your hair to create a bit of height without disrupting the hairstyle. Keep doing this until you're happy with the shape. Next, take one braid and roll it into a bun shape, securing it with a small claw clip. Repeat the same process on the other side. For a more relaxed, effortless look, gently pull on a few pieces of the braids to loosen them up. To keep the side strands or bangs in place, pin them with a hairpin. And there you have it, the complete look is finished. With this hairstyle, your makeup look comes together perfectly. Adding some cute bow accessories could be a fun touch too. So will you be recreating this look? Let us know in the comments. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.